Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, July 20th, 2017. I'm Lafern Fraser with the details. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Union, or SVGTU, and the Public Service Union, the PSU, have expressed solidarity with the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Welfare Association, the SVG-PWA, in relation to the recent developments which led to the transfers of 3 police officers, including the chairman of the SVG-PWA. In a joint statement issued on the matter, the unions made it clear that they strongly condemn the transfers of the officers and deem the action to be high-handed and tantamount to victimization, a breach of the officers' human rights, and a violation of the decent work agenda. According to the unions, the Police Welfare Association raised a number of serious and legitimate concerns which the authorities have failed to address. The SVGTU and the PSU said in light of this issue, the government must take immediate action to address the outstanding concerns raised by the Police Welfare Association and to ensure that there is an adherence to and respect for the human rights of all citizens. And Commissioner of Police Ronald Hadaway said that the transfer of officers to Union Island, as in the case of the president of the Police Welfare Association, Sergeant Brenton Smith, is not meant to displace families. The top cop noted that officers who go to that Grenadine island to perform duties spend only 2 weeks at a time. Commissioner Hadaway further explained that this is one of the areas that they are analyzing as it relates to leave of absence, which is among the issues of concern for police officers.
So is it that we're saying here that we shouldn't send anyone from the mainland to Union Island? I don't understand that. Secondly, what persons are not aware, because again, as I said, I've heard it, they're saying we're displacing persons from their families and the likes. The Grenadines, in particular, is placed in a unique situation where leave is concerned. So again, if we're talking about addressing leave system, it is a very small area, one would want to see, because the Grenadines has a leave system over the years where essentially the men work half of the month. They are on duty half of the month and they are on leave the other half. If you are in such a position, are you not getting adequate time for your family? You're down for 7 days, you're up for 7. And it's rotated like that. Okay. But now we can't do that on the mainland. Is it that we're asking to do something like that on the mainland? But I don't think that is the case anyway. But just to raise the point. So the issue, one of the contentious issues, if I should use that term, is being addressed, but it is, it's work in progress. It takes time.
Meanwhile, lawyer for the Police Welfare Association, Israel Bruce, called on persons whom he said are deliberately trying to cause discord among police officers to refrain from doing so.
That voice note going out was deliberate. It was intended to go to the police hierarchy or to go to intended politicians. What they're doing is destroying the fraternity. They're seeking to separate members of the police authority apparently along partisan political lines. I don't know if that's what they're doing, but one could come to a varying set of conclusions. But my position is, if that is what they're doing to the police force, then that is a most dangerous thing to do, and it would have damning effect on the society of St. Vincent and Grenadines. It should be stopped. Those people who are guilty of either seeking to undermine the Police Welfare Association should be ashamed of themselves, whether executive members or persons external to the executive. They should be ashamed of themselves and should stop it.
3 officers of the Police Welfare Association were transferred earlier this week after a WhatsApp voice note surfaced in which members of the Police Welfare Association, according to some who have heard the recording, were expressing concerns about their welfare and a suggestion made to storm the office of the Prime Minister. The police hierarchy deemed the statement as a threat against the Prime Minister, while the lawyer for the Police Welfare Association said it is not the case, noting that the statement has been taken out of context. Those who have been transferred are the president of the Police Welfare Association, Sergeant Brenton Smith, Corporal Jermaine Roberts, and Corporal Kenroy Martin. The government of SVG remains committed to protecting the rights of migrant workers and their families. This assurance came from the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sir Louis Straker, as he spoke at the launch of a three-day workshop being held here, geared toward ensuring the rights of migrant workers and their families. The workshop, which opened on Wednesday, is jointly organized by the government of SVG and the Office of the Commission of Human Rights in Geneva, and is expected to concentrate on the institutional strengthening of SVG's treaty body reporting. Speaking at the opening, Sir Louis stated that the Migrant Worker Convention is one of the major human rights treaties which SVG is a part of, adding that given the challenges nations like SVG face, the workshop is a timely one.
Convention. Migrant workers and members of their families are protected against arbitrary deprivation of property, confiscation and destruction of identity papers, and collective expulsion. They have the right to join trade unions, the right to equal treatment in respect of protection against dismissal and enjoyment of unemployment benefits. Ladies and gentlemen, globalization is changing the face of migration. States parties like St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which were only countries of origin when they ratified the Migrant Workers Treaty, are now dealing with the realities of being countries of destination, or in some cases transit, and in the improvement of modern sea and air transport, airport infrastructure adds to this conundrum, thus strengthening the case for increased training in this policy area.
Sir Louis expressed confidence in the success of the workshop and highlighted some areas which the participants will be engaged in.
Over the next 3 days, participants will examine the Migrant Workers Convention in detail. They will engage in a simulation exercise which will closely mirror the actual interactive dialogue that takes place when a country presents its national report before the Migrant Workers Committee. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is committed to the promotion and protection of the rights of all migrant workers and members of their families, and this training today is a demonstration of that commitment. Ladies and gentlemen, I am confident that at the end of this week's proceedings, the knowledge and skills of all the participants would have enhanced the purpose of this training, would have been fulfilled, and in so doing, the reporting capabilities of St. Vincent and the Grenadines would have been improved.
Meanwhile, Secretary of the Convention of Migrant Workers, Bradford Smith, said migrants across the world face a wide array of challenges as they strive to make a better life for themselves and their families, adding that with such a harsh reality, the international framework on human rights is even more relevant.
Turning to the very topical issue of migration, many migrant workers suffer human rights violations, from labor exploitation and abuse, lack to access to justice, abusive border control measures, for example. Undocumented migrant workers are even more vulnerable. With increased migration movements and insufficient regular channels of migration, migrants desperate to find safe havens and better opportunities turn to smuggling networks often that care only about profit and nothing about the men, women, and children that they transport across borders, many of whom drown at sea, suffocate in containers, or die of exposure in deserts. Detention of migrants, including children, is becoming routine, and anti-migrant, racist, and xenophobic sentiments, rhetoric, and even policies, as well as political demagoguery, are on the rise, even in the world's most prosperous and privileged societies. But it is exactly in this climate that the Convention is now more relevant than ever. It is in these times of crisis that the international human rights legal framework shows its relevance and provides a framework for the very often difficult and fraught discussions that preoccupy decision makers.
Smith then congratulated SVG for ratifying a very important convention and expressed hope that other nations in the region will follow the lead of SVG.
Fundamental importance of this convention is that it provides a comprehensive normative framework for defining national and international migration policy under the rule of law. It not only protects and promotes the human rights of migrant workers and members of their families, but provides an agenda for interstate consultation and cooperation on pertinent issues, such as exchange of information, cooperation in combating irregular migration, smuggling of migrants, trafficking in persons, pre-departure orientation for migrants, orderly return, and reintegration in home countries. I'm looking forward over the next few days to engaging with all of you, a very broad array of stakeholders, to assist St. Vincent and the Grenadines in better understanding the reporting process in general, and in particular with respect to the CMW Convention. And I really want to commend St. Vincent for having ratified this very important convention, and I sincerely hope that more countries in the region would follow your lead in this regard.
The assistant to the director of the HIV/AIDS unit, Azonia Van Loo Morris, said she is heartened by the amount of persons here who are getting tested for the virus for the first time. In an interview with SVG-TV News, Van Loo Morris said the increase in the number of persons getting tested for the first time speaks volumes of the work done by the unit, adding that the input of all stakeholders is important in the fight against the deadly disease.
What's really standing out to me is new people coming out, new people coming to get tested, and I think that speaks to something that we are doing because of the increase of persons who are coming for the first time getting tested. So I think that's something really good. And of course, we just want to continue to provide a good product and a good service to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We are here to serve you. Our main purpose is to serve the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we always look forward to feedback from the general public, feedback from other ministries, feedback from the media. It's always good to hear what people are saying, and it's always good to know how we can improve on our service, and we always want to improve to make sure we are providing the best service possible.
Van Loo Morris added that she was also heartened by the response of the general public as the unit was engaged in activities such as condom distribution during the carnival season.
The reception from people this year, as always, I think it was really good. A lot of people were very appreciative of the services that we were offering, and they appreciated what we were doing. A lot of people would have, said thanks, the general thanks. You saved a life tonight. You guys are doing a good job. So I think that was a really good response from the general public, and I think that it is something that we're going to keep on doing, and in years to come we want to hope to expand and improve upon everything that we're doing during Carnival and during the year on a whole.
She, however, lamented that this year's activities were not as intensive as last year.
For this year, I think that the campaign went well, and while it did go well, I think that we did fall a bit behind. It wasn't as intense as last year's. That's mainly due to the fact that the unit has several projects going on under the Global Fund as well, and we had to have a bit of diversified focus, and a lot of the workshops and so on that we would have been doing were happening at the same time as carnival events and major carnival happenings. So that was one little downfall for us this year.
Come this Friday, July 21st, members of the Harvest Bible Chapel will be in the vicinity of Little Tokyo offering prayer to persons. Senior Pastor Al Blake said the initiative is part of his church's month of prayer activities, noting that they have already been at several locations in and around the Kingstown area, offering passers-by strength through prayer.
Be continuing this endeavor all throughout this week. We're going to be at Massey in Arnesville at Car Park on Wednesday, and then on Friday we're also going to be at Little Tokyo, and just being able to pray and intercede to God on behalf of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is something that we can do as a church. This is our month of prayer, and we are taking it to the streets and praying for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we want everyone to know this, that you are loved.
The annual summer program for children 5 to 15 years old, organized by the Urban League, Inc., will commence on Monday, July 24th, 2017, and run through August 14th. The Urban League, Inc., a non-profit community-based organization that was formed in 2005 in the Otley Hall community by Sean Frederick and Alfred Jackman. The group has been hosting the Youth Arts and Sports Summer Program for 11 years now. The program is supported by the Department of Culture and Sports as well as the Football Federation, along with other private individuals and businesses.